All right, what up? What up? YouTube family. It has been a minute for me since I've been able to even post a video, yet alone do a live. So I plan on keeping this one pretty brief, but go ahead and let me know if you're seeing this. I know I've been MIA probably a good 10 days, I would guess. Comment in the chat, talk to me. Let's connect, everybody, because there's lots to talk about. There's lots to unpack. There's so much news, frankly, going on left and right. And look here, and I'm doing something over there that it's almost hard to even settle down and pick a topic and stay focused with as much noise that's going on in the world. But I wanted to just bring and highlight. If you guys didn't get a chance to check this, I wanted to touch on the topic of the Ukraine. What up, Seraph? Can you hear me all right? Video 5, audio 5, everything's good. Okay, awesome. Appreciate that. So I wanted to touch on just some alternative thought on what's going on with the Ukrainian crisis in Russia, and then kind of compare that with the mainstream idea of what we see. I mean, I'm not one to sit here and tell you that this isn't a travesty, that we shouldn't be praying like crazy, sending support if possible. It's nuts, and I have some close friends who are closely tied to some people in the Ukraine, and it's not something that is a fake thing. Okay, I mean, people are dying, people are scared, they're hiding underground. There's already been loss of life, and it's absolutely nuts. And the crisis is real. But I want to just talk about a couple different perspectives, and then just something that I just have a general question about. For some reason, in my gut, and if you're watching this, you comment on this. If I'm out of line, just let me know. I'm not going to pretend to completely understand everything that's going on, but I have some things to consider and things to think about. So you got this one school of thought that's pervasive in the culture, which basically says that, hey, um, basically the Ukraine has had a toxic relationship with Russia. And I'm not going to argue it because I've heard some crazy stories about what the government has done to the people in the Ukraine and just crazy stuff that we can't imagine as Americans. But they've had a toxic relationship with the Ukraine. They finally kind of got separated from that toxic relationship in the early 1990s as the United States kind of helped them set up democracy and what have you. And then the abusive lovers coming back. That's the best way I know how to put it. The best, most succinct way to describe the mainstream narrative out there. And I'm not here to debunk that. However, I do have another school of thought on the issue that makes me very curious as to what really is the truth. So check this out live if you're here with me, or comment, watch it later. But we're going to talk about something that came to light. I think it was a day ago or so, where they were interviewing on Fox News about one of the Ukrainian parliament members who they're interviewing, and she's saying, "Hey, we're ready to fight. We're ready to do this." And then it seems like she has a little on-air slip here. Okay, I don't know if you guys heard about this. Please comment if you're watching me live. If you're seeing this, they might be probably suppressing this video hard because of the content of what we're talking about. But you think about what a lot of people in the prophetic are even kind of saying, like this time period between February 22 and the next month, they're really trying to bring in this whole globalist new world order. Well, but it seems that the Ukrainian parliament member, her name is Kira, I think it's Kira. I don't know if I'm saying it right. Kira Rudik is detailing about what it's like for them to fight. And she accidentally has a slip saying that she is fighting for the New World Order. Okay. Fighting for the New World Order, which is an interesting slip to have in these times, because as you may or may not have heard, there is a theory out there that NATO, that we have as U.S. established in Ukraine, is not necessarily a friend of the world. Yeah, there are theories and some good questions I heard listening to Johnny Enlow the other day, where he was bringing up a good point. Ukraine has been a hotbed for pedophilia and human trafficking. Okay. It's been a hotbed for that. It's well known. And it's also well known that for some reason, the politicians say, I don't know, Nancy Pelosi has a son who works on the board of a company in Ukraine. I believe it's no secret that Mr. Biden and Hunter have a lot of history about his interesting employment and what qualifications he has. He's sitting on the board getting paid like something, I think it was like 500 million. What up, Jay? Love you. Something like, what was it, 500,000 like a month? I mean, it's a stupid amount of money this guy's making to sit on the board in Ukraine. There, what's his name? Mitt Romney has a son or a daughter, I can't remember what it was, that has a very prominent position in Ukraine. So you got all these known deep state actors who have kids that somehow have, through some back doors, or maybe they're promising some connection to their influential parents, they're getting these sweet jobs in Ukraine. And we all know that they tried to falsely impeach the real president, 45, for picking up the phone and being like, what is up with this, Hunter Biden fella and him getting this job? I don't really understand. And he's, is there something that needs to be looked in there? And somehow they're saying that that's impeachable, which makes no sense. Neither one of the impeachable offenses make any sense. So anyway, Sarah says that lines up. The current administration is poo-poo over there, and 3 to 4 times as bad. Yeah, and so basically, this is the bottom line. There's this idea that the people in government in Ukraine are deep state plants, and that Putin and Russia is essentially attacking not for the aim of hitting civilians, which I'm not saying that they're not doing that. I'm just telling you the theory, and that they're taking out biolabs that are set up by the deep state. They're taking out tunnels that really people of faith need to really seek God about what's true here. And maybe we shouldn't be praying a certain way, but more like, God, your will be done with this issue, because there's going to be wars, rumors of wars. God promised that. But perhaps, even this, I once heard a pastor put it this way. He goes, even the sins of man are the slaves of our God. So Putin might not be on the up and up, and he could be in deep sin. He clearly is, but he could still be ultimately being used as a pawn for God to take out the New World Order. And so that's a theory. So without further ado, I want to go ahead and play this clip. I'm going to try to turn the volume up as loud as I possibly can, folks, because I don't have the equipment to really let you hear it well. But this is about a 40 second clip from the Ukrainian parliament member. Her name's Kira. I'm probably going to get the last name right, so I'm not going to try. And this is what she said, a little slip, basically saying we need arms. We need to protect ourselves from big bad Russia, because we're fighting not against the New World Order. We're fighting for the New World Order. Let me go ahead and roll it, and you guys tell me if you can hear this. It's as loud as I can get it. Chat me if you don't mind if you can hear this, guys. Listen.
Well, I'm not surprised. We have been fighting Putin for the last 8 years, and we had 3 revolutions in our country when we did not agree with what was going on with the direction of where we're moving in. But right now, it's a critical time, because we know that we not only fight for Ukraine, we fight for this new world order for the democratic countries. We knew that we are the shield for the Europe.
Did you hear that? We fight for this new world order for the democratic countries. Because the more I keep thinking about it, and I just want us to put our thinking caps on for a minute. And it doesn't mean we're right. It just means we're freely using our God-given right to think things through. Okay. Do I really believe the government of the United States, the governments of the free world, do I really think that they care like they say they do on the lying media, that they need to go to Iraq and liberate the country and set up democracy, and we want to go to Ukraine and set up democracy because that's just our ideals? Are they really motivated by these pure innocent ideals that people should be free in all these other areas of the world that kind of would seem random to the common citizen of the United States? Or is it that they actually want the oil that's in this area, or they want the resources that's in this area, or they want to set up camp? Is that more likely? I think the past 2 years have shown us that, first off, the media, if they're saying it, they're basically the false prophets of the day. Whatever they're saying is probably the opposite. And whoever they're saying is innocent is probably guilty. And whoever they're saying is guilty is probably innocent. I mean, that's just how it is with the mockingbird media that we have at this current, venue in the United States. In the last 2 years, we know that the real enemies are not necessarily all the way in this other country that we need to be most fearful of. We've learned that the real enemies are running our own government, and they're an enemy of the people, and they're selling us out. That's just what it is. So is it stand to reason, when you take that into account, when you take into account NATO, when you take into account the fact that you have, prominent known rhinos and or deep state, Pelosi's, Biden, the corrupt cabal, Mitt Romney, and more, all have kids who work for Ukrainian governments? You don't think they have ties there? Is it possible, that this is a little more to this than what meets the eye, and that the portrayal that we're getting in the media could be a little off? I think it's possible, but just reading some of you guys, Sarah says, Asimov Battle, I can't get some of these names right, so you gotta forgive me, was angry to be disregarded by legacy media. Here they say the Maidan coup wouldn't have worked out without them. What's up, Awake and Aware? Third layer here is Putin is a graduate of Soros School for World Leaders too. I'm hearing some conflicting reports on Putin, and I have to be the first to admit I don't know a ton about him. I hear one side saying, no, he's Christian, he might be a white hat, and he's literally anti-New World Order. from the things that I saw when Trump was in office, it definitely seemed in a weird way, not that Putin was our friend, but it did seem that that was like the one world leader who was very much anti-globalist. I mean, their money isn't the currency of the rest of the free world, and there's lots of reasons why, right or wrong and in between. The dude seems to be pro-Russia, like a nationalist, so much like Trump was a nationalist for the United States. So it's some crazy stuff. So just to read a theory, this was sent to me by a friend of mine who was following it. I think it was on Telegram where he got the source. I can't give you the exact source because you know how it is. We can't really get the real stories by looking at the mainstream account. And so this is just an alternative perspective. And I was just curious what you guys who follow the channel actually thought about this. Okay. Right here, I'm just going to read this little statement and you guys tell me what you think. In fact, tell you what, I think I can read it from the screen here. Here we go. It says there's been a lot of complaints lately about America's continued activity in the field of biological weapons development, as there's a growing list of reasons for those complaints to appear. One of the primary ones is the ongoing activity of more than 400 military biological laboratories created by the United States in 25 countries, including former Soviet republics, Armenia, Azerbaijan, Georgia, Kazakhstan, Moldova, Ukraine, and one other place I'm not going to try to pronounce. Although U.S. Political figures try to convince the rest of the world that those are merely research centers where American specialists help local scientists develop ways to combat dangerous diseases, Washington carefully suppresses any information about what is actually taking place inside those military facilities. Elected officials of the above mentioned have no real idea what goes on inside behind closed doors. The U.S. centers deployed across those countries and the research facility at Fort Detrick's military base, where Pentagon lab coats have been working on weaponizing biology for decades, are one and the same. Suspicions about the involvement of foreign U.S. biolaboratories in the emergence of very strange diseases in the countries where such secret facilities exist are growing. So, thus, on July 30th, Channel 1 Eurasia, a local Kazakh television station, these names, reported an unexpected mass death of livestock from an unknown disease in two regions of Kazakhstan. In particular, livestock deaths were registered in the North Kazakhstanian region. Veterinarians speculate that this disease is blackleg or emphysematous carbuncle, which has not been seen in this land for a very long time. The infection primarily affects young, immature animals that cannot yet be vaccinated due to their age. Mass mortality of livestock also occurs in the neighboring Akmala region, in the villages of Azat and Karabulak. More than 500 heads of livestock fell ill. So it's just an interesting thing. I could go through the whole thing, but there's some weird scientific experiments that remind me of Mr. Fauci and his Fauci ouchie that basically have been shown, or there seems to be evidence that are taking place in these biological facilities in all types of countries. One of which of those countries is the Ukraine. Now, I'm just telling you, it smells kind of weird. It smells kind of suspicious. I don't know the 100% truth, but I do think there's some truth to this potentially. And I can't tell you that Putin's doing everything just to get rid of the New World Order, because it does look like he's attacked citizens. And I know some people, some dear friends of ours, who have contacts in Ukraine, and they can tell you it's bad. So we need to be praying for them for sure. But do I also think at the same time, what up, Wilson's chick? Good to have you on. I do think it is possible that there's more here that meets the eye. And just as praying, faith-filled folks that a lot of y'all are, I think it would be wise to seek God on what's really going on here, because what we're always sold and told in the drama of it, they lie through their stinking teeth. And what in the world, if you're just now coming on, I want to play this again, is up? What is up with this Ukrainian parliament member that was just on Fox News being interviewed and admitting that she's fighting for the New World Order? It slipped out of her mouth as she mentions democracy. If y'all are just coming on, it's only 37 seconds. I'm going to play it one more time for those of y'all just joining us. And I literally want y'all to tell me in the chat your thoughts on this, because I think it's interesting. Listen. Listen. I think the world, quite frankly, Kira, is surprised by the will of the Ukrainian people to stand up and fight. Are you?
Well, I'm not surprised. We have been fighting Putin for the last 8 years, and we had 3 revolutions in our country when we did not agree with what was going on with the direction of where we're moving in. But right now, it's a critical time, because we know that we not only fight for Ukraine, we fight for this new world order for the democratic countries. We knew that
Did you hear that? She didn't say we fight against the New World Order. She said we fight for this New World Order. And it just came out. So there is no doubt in my mind that there is definitely deep state ties that are very precious. I know firsthand of orphanages and some things like that where massive abuse is done in the orphanages. The idea that there's human trafficking and pedophilia and a massive hub and a system going on there is not too far fetched for me. I don't know what you guys say, but could it be possible that Putin, evil or not, or in between, that God's above it and he's using it to take out this stranglehold that the demonic vessels in this day and earth are using? I think it is possible. So anyway, Wilson's chick said I shared that video to many. It made me ill when I heard the New World Order. I mean, it's coming out of their mouth. I know, abundance of the mouth, the heart speaks. And so I got one more thing here. These are now this could fall under, depending on what you think, it could fall under Book of Esther. It really is on a massive world scale. Under conspiracy theory, you can call it that. You can call it what it is, but this is one of the things I was sent, and it's just a theory out there. And I just like to get the ideas out on the board, and then we can think about it. I'm not telling you this is truth. I'm just telling you a theory, and it might be something to search out so we can get to the truth. So right here it says, heir to the Rothschilds family. This is a recent post. Nathaniel Rothschild today wrote in the members of British government, giving his view that Vladimir Putin is the most dangerous man since the defeat of Hitler, with Jinping a close second. He said, Ukraine, this is a Rothschilds, and y'all know what it is with that. Ukraine is an essential piece that we cannot afford to lose in this geopolitical chessboard. The heir to the Rothschilds fortune argued that Russia must be excised from the international banking and economic system. We must bring Russia to its knees through any means possible to send a strong signal to the Chinese and to protect our global systems of norms and liberal values. He said a few other things, but down here it says, in effect, our current path, a lack of military action, means that our global order is dead on its feet. I urge you to deploy more forces against Russia and its proxies, step up information warfare to correct opinion, especially online, send weaponry to our friends in Ukraine. Without Ukraine, the global order may not survive. Almost sounds a little too good to be true, but I'm believing from the Spirit of God that the too good to be true is finally here. So if you hadn't got a chance to check out this one lady, if you're of the mind to check out the prophets, you should check out this young, well, I don't know how young she is, might be in her 40s, named Julie Green, who had an interesting word, who's kind of pretty much echoing this sentiment. She's saying, look, God's above, who, what's really going on. Don't believe the mockingbird lying media of the day, the false prophets of Baal, which is essentially the media as far as I'm concerned. And that God's going to use this to help take out some key areas of their systems. And so I'm hoping, I'm choosing to believe that there's something to this. Reading a little bit of you guys says, Mega, I've seen 12 mainstream news stories, totally faked. I believe it. The ace pilot, the ghost of Kiev. Did I say that right? Is it Kiev? The tank was Ukraine, not Rus. That smashed a car. Okay. The supermodel story, the Snake Island story. Yeah. I mean, they just lie out of their teeth, Seraph. A helicopter shot down by a system was a game. Okay. So that was a lie too. There's war, but the mainstream isn't mentioning they have water still. They have power still. Putin isn't a total, you know what. Julie Green is now my mother's favorites. I thank you for sharing. Yeah, you should see the one today, Wilson's chick. I mean, Julie Green, I'm just being straight on. She's saying such clear cut, like God's already won. They're going down. These people are going to turn on themselves. She's saying the Biden, or God refers to him as the Biden through her, if you want to look at it that way. If she's a true prophet, that's what it is. Because saying as much that basically Pulaski, or however you say that Secretary of State's name, I can never get it right, whatever name, Jen Psaki, excuse me, I think that's her name. Jen Psaki knows that he's not the real Biden, that the Jill Biden knows that's not the real Biden, and that they all went along with it, and that essentially Obama is pulling the strings the entire time, and the Biden is ruining things, and they're about to have to play their hand somewhere or another. A lot of bold stuff. It's either true or it's absolutely malarkey. We'll find out within a month or two, but it's worth checking out because it definitely gives you a different hopeful perspective on the current events and helps you not get too caught up in your emotions when you see all this stuff. I mean, don't forget the fact that when there's war and rumors of wars, like God told us in his word, when there's wars and rumors of wars, take heart, the end is not near. He even says that. they're trying to do other stuff while you're distracted looking over there at Russia, Ukraine, right? For example, there's a bill, I can't remember the name of it. Some of y'all probably know, but you can put it in the comments for those who want to look it up. But there's essentially the Congress has brought before the Senate some ridiculous bill that's going to codify abortions so that even if Roe v. Wade were overturned, that it couldn't make an effect and people could still abort all the way up to 9 months. It's insane and it's murder, and this cannot stand. I think, to me, the spiritual connection to what's going on, God's trying to tear down the foundations of this satanic system. And one of the huge things that feeds this demonic entity called Baal, Satan, is child sacrifice. But you have to understand, in the new age, it's the same old story, but it's done a little more sneakily, right? Abortion is the food for Baal, Satan, and it gives him the legal right to actually advance his kingdom on the earth. He has always, from the foundation of humanity's beginnings, there's been child sacrifice there. God had harsh words for the children of Israel when they would start intermarrying, not interracial. It wasn't about that. It was about who your God was. And if they intermarried with other cultures who had these false gods, inevitably they would start sacrificing their children to these false gods. And God couldn't stand that. A lot of times that was the last straw when he had to come in and discipline the children of Israel. And so this stuff didn't go away. The devil didn't go away just because it was, it's been 2,000 years or whatever since a lot of the stories that we read about in the book. And God didn't go anywhere. We know this. And so we got to keep the faith till the wheels fall off, baby, till the wheels fall off. Now, just a little housekeeping issues. If you're wondering where I've been, I have a lot of things I'm trying to restructure in my life as far as some career decisions and things like that. I've had to pull back. I'm probably not going to be posting regularly like I had been for so long during the season, but I'll try to do what I can when I can. Also, I had just, frankly, my laptop went out, and so my main computer that I used to make all these videos, it went kaput. I had a hard drive issue. That went down for the count for a number of days. I had to decide. I ended up getting it fixed. So there's just been some practical things going on. This is a war, y'all. And so, we got setbacks, but we don't give up, and then we get back up when we fall. I mean, that's just how it is. So as a reminder of the theory, and so far I've seen some people that kind of tend to agree with it, but I don't know what you guys think about what's going on in Ukraine and Russia. I'm still trying to read up on it myself. A lot of people are scared that World War III is going to come here. I'm here to tell you right now, Julie Green, if you believe that, and I'm not going to force that on you, but I just say check it out for yourself and use discernment. She flat out said, hey, they're trying to have war. They have to have their war machine. That's how they get more money and at the same time to populate the earth, which is what their goal is, right? Basically, war, they're trying to make it happen, but it's not going to work out. It's not going to turn into World War III. God's actually won, and they're at their wits' end. So that is the positive news. If you can hear the news before the news, if you can believe God and his prophets and not despise that, then, hey, you get some stability in tough times. You get optimism. You get peace. You get the shepherd of your soul who leads you beside still waters. Even in, the Bible talks about in that same verse, I think it's Psalm 23, talks about how you prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. So while the chaos is going on, why everyone's telling us we should be freaking out, why we're having all these threats at the job, why we're having all this stuff that if we went with what we're being told, we could be in fear and condemnation and torment. If we just trust the King and submit our request to him with thanksgiving, he can actually hold us together, keep us in peace before our problems solved up, and we can enjoy our life while we wait on him to solve our problems. That's the Christian life. That's the Christian life. Okay. So anyway, Wilson Chick says, this is very heavy. We must do better for our children. Yes, Doug and I have really missed you. I miss you too. Anyway, I missed you guys for sure. Now, I am not going to stay on here long. I've been here about 23 minutes. I got little kids myself that I need to make sure I have to spend some time with each day. It's important to me. So I'm probably going to be signing off here in just a matter of minutes. If you want to support the channel, there's a link to my PayPal, my Cash App, as usual. You know that. But if you don't, even if you don't, I love you till the wheels fall off. I understand we're going through some stuff. Do what you can do, however God leads you to do it. That's what I'm really all about. But let me know in the chat what you think about that Ukrainian MP pretty much telling us that they're fighting for the New World Order. See how they do that? They're a little slick. They try to slip in fighting for democracy equals fighting for the New World globalist agenda, the conspiring of the nations, which it actually says in the word. Why do the nations conspire? The Lord in heaven laughs. That's what it says. So don't tell me, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. The Bible, if you believe it, flat out says the nations conspire, and it asks, why do the nations conspire? And I'm telling you, they do it in vain because the Lord in heaven laughs because he knows he's about to break it down, and we're in the middle of it. That's what I believe. So anyway, it's almost time. It really is. So y'all be blessed. I'll catch y'all on the next one till the wheels fall off, baby. Peace.